Good morning, good evening, whatever time you watching this, good to you, America. It is me, your man, Jay Sims, the Lion, coming to you for another episode of Book of Man. And I'm featuring, I'm hosting, I'm that guy, but it's starring, you know who it is, the Doc. We're trying to bring you a little knowledge, inspiration, and motivation. So please join us, sit still, listen, and learn. We love you. Get with us. Doc, how you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain at all. You know, stuff going on in life, but it don't matter because I got a lot of stuff to be thankful for, man. I just keep focusing on that and we good to go.
Well, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad to see you in good spirits. I know I'm going to learn something because I learn something every time we do this. I think we got something real interesting for the people today. We got a video we want to show y'all, and we're going to give y'all some kind of reactions and opinions and why it matters. Go ahead and hit him with the video, Doc.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and load up this video. We're gonna watch it together, and then we'll pause it and talk a little bit while it's going. And a little background, I found this on TikTok. I'm not on there all the time, but sometimes I am, you know, just looking at whatever. So
Doc, it's okay if you want to be a TikToker, Doc. You're a grown man, you can be a TikToker. You can talk tick if you want to. You know, you can put some videos on there.
You know what? I think I am. I probably could do one of them dances.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you can do it. It's for everybody. You know, the kids hate the old folks take over the TikTok. They'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, let me get this video up here. All right, there we go. Me and you, there go the video. Now, this gentleman here, about 30 seconds, he talking about why he hate being a man. So, you know, we got some thoughts about this. So, Jay, just let me know when to pause it, and we're going to talk about it.
All right, well, let's play it all the way through for the people, then we'll come back and do sections.
All right, then let's go.
All right.
I hate being a man because people judge you for your depression. I hate being a man because I have no one to open up to about my suicidal thoughts. I hate being a man because when I open up about being sexually abused by a woman, people say I got lucky. I hate being a man because I'm sick of being alone with my problems all the time. I hate being a man because no one in this damn world cares about me genuinely.
Ooh, that's a lot to unpack, bro. It's a lot to unpack. Now, let me first, the very first thing I want everybody to pay attention to, he comes out the gate saying, I hate. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if it's for effect or if that's how he really feel, but that's a very, very strong word to say about yourself. Mm-hmm. So initially, we know one way or the other, he feels very strong or he is desperately seeking some attention about his issues. Well, one way or other, it's a strong emotion, and the young fella dealing with some stuff.
Well, I can tell you about that content creator. After I saw this video, I kind of looked at some of his other stuff, and he is a men's right advocate. So I want to say that he is just projecting out there what a lot of men really feel like. And it's the word hate. Yeah, it's strong. But unfortunately, some of us do feel that way.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not. You know, disregarding his feelings. He very well can, and you know, he is justified in feeling however he feels. And I'd much rather a young man make a TikTok and shout it out on a TikTok than do something dumb, you know, with a Nerf gun than go get a real gun.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So, if that's his chosen platform to get that frustration out, by all means, young brother, please make all the TikToks you feel necessary you need to make to get that frustration out. I'd much rather you do that than go out here and do something, hurt yourself or hurt somebody. If you're saying you're having suicidal thoughts. Mm-hmm. So if being angry and shooting the Nerf gun help you cope with that, I commend you. Because I think coping skills are one of those things that are not being taught anymore.
That's true. That's true. And specifically, I don't think that boys are being taught how to cope with things from other men because, believe it or not, men and women, we're not equal. And when I say we're not equal, I mean we're not the same, because equality, being equal, implies that both sides of the equation are balanced and are the same.
Well, I'm going to push back on that a little bit, Doc. I think we are equal, but not the same. I think what men bring and what women bring are equal, but they don't bring the same things. They should be valued the same, but they aren't the same things.
Exactly. And I mean, that's, that I'm kind of saying the same thing, but what I'm getting around to is that a lot of our young boys and young men are taught to handle stress and emotional situations the same way women do. And you can't do it like that because we're not built the same. It don't work the same way.
You're right. A woman decides she want to get upset and shout and all that stuff, and people around her are going to say, calm down, baby, it's okay. They're going to give her a hug. A man gets upset and starts shouting and screaming, they're going to call the police.
Yeah.
Especially a black man. So that's the difference. The world treats it differently.
Let me tell you this real quick. My daily occupation, I'm an educator. And I had a couple students, matter of fact, yesterday. They came to me, hey, doc, I got this problem. The teacher is doing this thing in class. And they were so upset, yelling about it and fussing. And, what I told them, I said, all right, young man, but you can't do it that way. And the reason why you can't do it that way is that when those teachers, you go to administration or go to another teacher or somebody that's not a man, basically, what they're going to see is a young man that's yelling and being aggressive. And you will get in trouble.
Black boy.
But what's happening is they get in trouble for showing those emotions. They get fussed at and punished for that. So what I had to do is say, you know what? No, I'm going to show you how to do it a different way. And I told him, unfortunately, it's not fair, it's not equal, but this is how we got to play the game. And I was like, let's write this stuff down on paper. I'm going to give your letters to the appropriate people, and I'm going to speak for you. But it's so bad.
A lot of young men don't feel like they have an advocate. You're being an advocate for them. And I don't think a lot of young men feel like they have any advocates. They don't have anybody that understands the world the way they understand it and see it and can actually help them navigate through it. So I believe one of the things he said was nobody takes his depression seriously.
Oh, yep, that's the one that's up here now. It says, I hate being a man because people judge you for your depression.
And that's almost the same thing like them young brothers coming in your room like, hey, I got these issues. And rather than people help them with their issues, they judging them on how they brought it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And now the issue's still unresolved, but they telling them you need to act a certain way with no addressing of their actual issues. And I think that's what goes on for a lot of us as men, is people want to tell us how to act, but no one cares enough to help us address our issues. And if we don't, as individuals, know how to address the issues on our own and get those skills to address those issues, it's just gonna go unresolved. But we better act right.
There's so much with this because people judge you for your depression.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say something like this, if you say something about how you feeling, what's going on, yeah, you know what? Society gonna tell you to man up. That's why I don't like that word, man up. To ignore it, keep going, keep packing it in. I saw a YouTuber, what's his name? Kosher Clinician. It's a older black man who is a psychotherapist. He has a YouTube channel. And his subject tonight, I'm gonna watch it, says, is suffering in silence causing black men to delete themselves? I'm not gonna say the actual word because if you're on YouTube, they might hold us down, but y'all know what that means. So they feel like if they can't tell anybody what's going on, they just have to suck it up, pack it down, and keep going. And that's how we've been taught. And unfortunately, other men do it too.
Yeah, we definitely do it to each other. We that's one of the reasons we don't talk to each other, because we know the other guy. We feel like the other guy's gonna say, "Hey man, suck it up."
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I've done it. Now, one of the things I try to do when I speak to brothers, especially young brothers, is they'll come to me with a problem, and the first thing I'll try to give them is an actionable step to resolve the issue. Mm-hmm. But most of the times, they just want to vent. They just want to tell you about it. It's like, cool, you told me about it, but have you really sat down and figured out how you can solve your issue? And I think a lot of these young cats are getting so tied up on nobody's listening to me that they just want somebody to listen to them. And if you can if you listen to them for a second and let them get out whatever their issue is, oftentimes they have a good enough mind on their, good enough head on their shoulders to work through their problems. They just haven't had a chance to say the shit out loud because nobody's listening to them.
That's the thing. That's what you got to do. You may not have time, but what I've learned over the years of, being an educator, counselor, all the many things I do. People just want to know that you listening to what they say. And so let them talk. Don't say nothing. Let them talk. And then you have to just ask them open-ended questions after that. Why do you think that? And then they'll end up finding their own solution. But what you're doing is teaching them how to deal with these problems so they don't get to the point where they're at this depression.
Right.
Man, that thing is evil. Do you know that middle-aged men have the largest amount of self-deletion among all people?
Yes.
And if you ask me, I think it comes from no attention to our boys because they grow up with this stuff and then they grow into men not knowing how to deal with it.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's a tough road out here for quote unquote an average man. You're just a regular guy. Because you don't get the admiration or appreciation that a high economic guy would get, and so you kind of just you constantly you don't feel like you got your family where they're supposed to be. We live in this social media society.
Yeah.
And all we see is the very best parts of everybody's life.
Yeah.
That's all we see. We just see the best parts. So it's also, to a certain degree, this video is like, oh, okay, there's other people out here struggling, which is why it probably resonates with everybody that sees it, because we're like, oh, I'm not the only one as a man struggling with these same issues. I think we as men, even more so than anybody else in our lives, men in general, we have to take it upon ourselves as men to start helping younger men deal with this stuff, so they don't feel like they're so alone. A lot of these young brothers haven't grown up around a man.
That's true.
And you naturally know, oh, that's how my mama them handled it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my auntie them handled it. But I'm not my mama and my auntie them. Mm-hmm. I can't handle it like that. The world doesn't view me like that. I have to do something different, something better.
You said a whole mouthful right there. And I want to bring attention to one thing, and this is a term I hear tossed around when folks talk about, when people get sexually assaulted or things happen, they call it victim shaming.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you are victim shamed as a man? You're saying that you are depressed, because it happens from men and women. They victim shame the person, and they, what the number one thing they say? Oh, men need to teach other men to talk about their feelings. Or they say that there's something wrong with men. Men not supposed to do that. Men not supposed to say this or that. But I'm gonna say this: how in the world you want to look at the person with the problem and continue to tell them that they're wrong without listening to the problem?
And which is why we get back to where we are with a young man like this, just trying to find a way to get it out, because no one's listening to him. Clearly no one's listening. He really says that people don't take me serious. People don't believe what my issue. People tell me I was lucky I got sexually assaulted.
Ooh, yeah. Let's go. You want to just go to that one?
Let's bring it up.
All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead. What you got on that one? He said that people tell me that I'm lucky. When I was sexually assaulted. That
now, sexually assaulted by a woman, people tell me I got lucky.
Yeah. Matter of fact, here it is. Hold on, let me get to this. I can never get the right thing going on. There we go. I hate being a man. When I open up about being sexually abused by a woman, people say I got lucky.
Wow.
What you got to say about that one?
First of all, it's a very sad situation that he has to make that statement. And I think he's being 100% honest. I don't know if that's necessarily his story, but it may be the story of some other people that he knows and dealt with. I don't know. But I'm sure it's true. Because I know, for example, there was a teacher that was having sex with like a 13 or 14-year-old boy. And I'm not going to lie, she was a pretty woman. I was like, that was probably the time of that 13, 14-year-old boy's life. But what we don't realize is the damage done to him mentally.
Yeah.
He probably thought he was winning at the time. Because he didn't have, but once he becomes a man, he's going to be like, hold on. I was 13.
Yeah.
This grown woman manipulated me.
Yeah. But you know what's bad about this thing? It speaks to what society view the role of men as.
Right.
There is a professor, Dr. Tia Johnson, professor of Africana Studies at Fresno State University. Has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of men advocacy things. And one of the things he talks about is how Black men and boys are reduced to sexual objects and serfdom. That means that they work to support other people.
Correct.
And from a young age, this young man was viewed as a sexual object by the person that abused him, but also by the people that say he was lucky for that happening.
Made light of it. That's tragic. Because if it was a woman and we said that, we the world would jump down our throats. If we said, oh, if a woman said she got sexually abused by a man, he was a predator. He was a prowler. He tried to destroy her life.
Yeah.
Well, what if he was a great lover? Does that didn't make it okay? Did she get lucky because the first person that touched her was a great lover? No, it's just abuse. It's just abuse. But even me saying that, people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, how did he say that?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just abuse. And it's the same way when it's a kid. It's going to affect you mentally when you become an adult. Anyway, that's something Black men in particular do to each other. You will see Black men, I think Lil Boosie had an incident where he said he got his son a woman at like 14 years old. He literally paid to have his son sexually molested.
Yeah.
And he didn't think he was doing nothing wrong. That is how wrong our thinking is and how far we've gotten from reason as a people and as men.
So do you think when you said that, I thought about, there was a study and also, examples of how people view young Black boys as being older than what they are.
Yes.
Like the whole, when Tamar Rice got killed by the police. Here's a kid that was 12 years old and they were saying that he was a young adult. And, they handled him as such. Is this kind of the same thing where even our own men, we view our sons as being older than what they actually are, even though we know how old they are?
I believe in the Black community, there's a rush to prepare our children for the world. And by virtue of that, we make a lot of mistakes because we know the world out there is scary. And we know for Black men, the world starts, it turns for us at 14, 15 years. When we hit adult male size or in that range of the same size and of adult male, the world changes for us, regardless of our age. That 14, 15, 16-year-old kid that's 6'2" and 230 pounds, they love him on the football field. They love him on the basketball court. But man, when he goes somewhere that's not those things, when people don't know him, he just a big nigga.
Yeah. Now, I mean, and that go back to what I was saying before, about men and young men being viewed as objects.
Right.
There's a, and I can't remember his name, but during the late 1800s, this man was, he was a slave. And of course, he had all the physical attributes that people wanted. And they used him to breed more slaves. Now, that in itself is big because these men were made to have intercourse with thousands of women, and people would say that's being lucky, but they were made to do it on command. Right. But now they can trace this man lineage back and said, I think he had like 200 kids. Dang. From the same man. This man was abused to the point where he had offspring, hundreds of them. He was used as an object, and unfortunately, it's still going on today. These boys are being used for objects on the football field, basketball field, and like he's saying, by certain women to be abused objects. And even in life, these men and young boys are being used as slaves to work. How many times do you see? Oh, I'm about to make some people mad now. Why do you say that somebody that's 12 years old is the man of the house? Why is someone that's 10 years old outside pumping gas? They are 10. You're trying to make your boys grow up before they're not adults.
This is a problem because there's no man in the house. There's no man in the house. So as much as women could say, "Oh, I don't need no man," whatever, yeah, you do. That's why you try to turn your sons into husbands. Because you want that male presence, but he hasn't learned how to do it. He doesn't have a skill set for it, but you want him to have the emotional maturity of a man, and because you want him to have it too young, he's never going to get it.
And the reason why I feel so passionately about that is that, you always see these posts and people having these kids pumping gas, and we're like, well, he'll never have a woman pumping gas, or little things like that. But you're giving someone responsibilities before they're ready to handle them. And the older I get with children, I realize that my dad was figuring it out as he went on. And just like I'm figuring it out. Why are you putting boys in that position? That's why this stuff happened.
It tell you on the pump, nobody supposed to pump gas till they're 16. Tell you right there if you read the stuff on the pump, it say nobody put pump gas. Now, do I have an issue with a young man saying, "Oh, this is my mama, I'm not gonna let my mama pump her own gas"? I don't. You 12, 13, 14 years old and you made a decision for yourself, I understand. But that don't mean you sit in the car, lady. You should be standing out there making sure.
Supervise.
Correct.
But you know what though? You know what it is? And you can say that and I'm with you. But you know good and well what's happening is that they are training these boys to be their servants.
Yes.
There was one, I saw this other guy who is a licensed therapist. And in his video, he said, I did not know that my mother was damaged. My single mother was damaging me.
Right.
And he said that she made him rub her feet daily, run her bath water as a young man.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much I can say about this. And as an educator, I see these kids every day. You know what? Y'all doing these things to these kids, and I'm the one that got to try to fix them for the 8 hours I got them from August to May. Trying to make them better people. And we try to teach them things. They go home, and you just undo all of it. And that's why this stuff happened. That's why these boys going crazy. They're going crazy because they have no structure, they have no direction, and you just messing them up further. How is this happening? How is this right?
Okay,
people are supporting it.
It's not. We know it's not right. Well, all right, let's look at it like this. Some people say that when the Black community is referred to, they're really referring to women and children. So if that's the truth, if the Black community is women and children, then where do the Black men belong? if we don't belong in our own community. Once we turn, really not even 18, once we get about 16, we're not considered a child no more. Matter of fact, I'm sure a lot of black boys have heard, well, you need to be, you 16, you should be a man. You need to act like a man now. That's why you got boys run out at 14, 15 years old, start selling dope to pay bills in their mama house. Because somebody tell me he should be a man, or they feel that responsibility, or my daddy didn't do it, they feel that responsibility to take care of their mom, which is not a bad thing. I'm a grown man and I feel that responsibility as well. But if you grow up in a society or in a community that you know you're going to age out of value, once I turn 16, 17, I'm no longer a part of this community. I no longer have any value to this community.
You know what? I'm seeing it as a lot of folks saying it's everybody else's problem, because we are quick to complain about the state of the world. We always throw up pictures of why these boys wearing tight pants? Why are these boys behaving this way, shooting one another? There was just an incident of a kid who was in a school shooting in Texas. And this young man was 18 years old. His dad was beaten to death months before. His mom was locked up in prison. He was going to live with his grandma. He goes to school, and he was being bullied by these other young men who were claiming to be gang members. They stripped him naked and took his stuff. The next time, the boy's little brother tried to beat him down, and he brought a gun to school to defend himself, and he shot that boy. He shot him. Why is this happening? Why is it at the point to where this young man can't get help? Why can't he get help? He's living with his grandma. And the people know this is a problem. And people say, oh, yeah, they should have just changed schools. Bruh, it's October. It's October. School been in since August, September. It's been 60 days.
Somebody
need help, and now he shot somebody.
Somebody knew the bullying was going on. What did you think? He wasn't going to defend himself? Did you think he wasn't going to find a way to protect himself?
But all of the blame is going toward the person that was being bullied. It's on video. They know he did it. Yeah, he did it. But nobody is talking about the two young boys that was claiming to be gang members that harassed him daily, that caused him to go to the point where he had to get a gun and shoot at these people. And what happened? The fight was broken up. He shot him after the fight was over. And some people will say that's not honorable, but guess what? He knew the bullying wasn't going to stop. And that's why this person hates being a man, because there's no way out. There's no solutions. What are you going to do? Because every choice you make is going to be wrong.
Everyone. And I can relate. You feel like no matter what choice you make, what move you make, if I make a decision and anybody else has to suffer or be hurt or loses time, energy, money, or whatever, any decision I make, I'm the bad guy. No, a man does not almost feel like he doesn't have the right to make a decision that's just good for him. I have to make every decision I make has to benefit the people around me. And like you said, we are in servitude of the world around us.
And what made me so angry about all of this is that I have a son.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my son.
Yep.
I think he is everything to me. And I'm trying to raise him in a way where he doesn't make the mistakes I made.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at this thing, I have to raise him to navigate a world where people will view him as an object. And
Yes.
What's sad is that it seems as if he can't trust anybody. Anybody, even people that look like him.
Right.
And that's the sad part about it. So what in the world are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Well, that's an interesting point. Most black men don't trust black women or black men.
Mm-hmm.
So but then the phrase is no man is an island. But a lot of us feel that we are.
Mm-hmm.
So how can, if no man is an island, you can't be productive just by yourself. But most black men feel like he's completely by himself. How on earth is he going to become a productive human being if he doesn't feel like he's a part of society? Mm-hmm. We feel often like we are apart from society. There's the world that really doesn't have a place for us unless we have a skill they can use to make money off our back.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, this is a thought I just had. You know what? Men and black men, we must be viewed as gods or superheroes. And the reason why is because we are expected to know what to do, how to go about life, how to have the right answer for everything, how to fix everything, how to navigate relationships without being taught. We're supposed to read minds without being taught before you're 16 years old.
The margin for error is very small in everything we do. You go to work, you got one mistake, you out of there.
Yeah.
You're in a relationship, one bad move, you're out of there. Legally, you go out here and make a mistake, doing the wrong crime, be in the wrong place at the wrong time, record jacked up for life, you out of there.
Yeah.
Which is now going to make every other thing harder. The margin for error is very small. And I teach my son that. You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son. I know it's a raw deal. It's a raw deal, but we got it.
Yeah.
Your chance to make mistakes is right now in the house with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because when my son is 10 years old, when you hit about 6 more years, every time you walk out the door, you got to live damn near mistake free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there isn't the, I made some mistakes when I was young, but now I want to do right. Doesn't exist for us.
No.
When men make mistakes when they're young, oftentimes they're huge mistakes and have lifelong consequences. The margin for error is very small. And that's probably a lot of how that guy on the video feels. I hate being a man because I feel like I can't make a mistake.
Ooh.
And people come back and accept me for it and bring me back in and say, it's okay. Let's see how we can fix it. No, you make a mistake as a man is, oh man, you fucked up, you better deal with it.
Yeah. And what's dealing with it? Getting locked up?
I don't know what to tell you how to deal with it. I'm just telling you to deal with it.
Yes. You know what? Let me tell you a quick story. And this is true. When I was managing the warehouse, there was a guy. And he said, you know what, Doc? I want to go be in the Marines. Because I have nephews. So his sister was a single parent. I have nephews that's looking up to me. I want to show them that they can be more, want them to do more, not get in trouble. He wanted to go to the Marines. This guy was 21 years old. I never forget it. And one of our coworkers was a former Marine. So he told him what to do, how to exercise. During breaks, they were running around the warehouse with weighted vests on so he can get his stuff together. He went, took the GED test, got his GED, did all of that. But unfortunately, he had a record. And the record was, during graduation, at the end of the school year, he was found with a stem of marijuana in his possession. They put him in jail. He had a felony. The recruiter said, if you get that felony removed or expunged, we can take you, but we can't take you without that. You know, that one mistake made it to where he couldn't join the military because the government, the courthouse, wouldn't even let him get his records. I saw it. They sabotaged him at every single turn. And he got tired of jumping through hoops. So he quit. I'm not doing this. It's not worth it. we had another young man that wanted to do the right thing, but couldn't. So just like you said, that one mistake, you know what? It didn't affect him only. It affected him. It affected his 2 nephews, and it affected whoever else he was taking care of.
Yep.
And now I don't know where
it reduced his ability to take care of his family, which lowers in his mind and the mind of others. If you can't take care of your family, you're less valuable as a man.
Mm-hmm.
So now this young man, 21 years old, getting started in life, probably largely feels like a failure. I let my nephews down. I let my sister down. I let my mama down. I ain't worth a damn. Just because I made this dumb decision to have some weed.
Yeah. At 17, 18 years old.
Right.
And it was just a little bit of STEM.
Now, this is one of those things I call a Negro disqualifier.
Oh, okay. Tell me what that is.
A Negro disqualifier are the little bull jive laws, rules, and regulations that exist primarily to hinder Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the peonage law. Savannah is one of the best examples of that as a city in the world, because we got all those peonage laws that punish poor people, which is primarily in the city, African Americans. For example, you don't cut your yard, you get a fine. Well, I can't afford a lawnmower, and I can't afford the lawnmower, and I can't afford the landscape service. So you're gonna give me another penalty of charge? That's a peonage law. You're gonna punish me for not having money, for not having means. That's basically what you're doing. And throughout society, we have all these Negro disqualifiers. For example, running for office. You got to have a certain amount of money behind you just to run for office. That's a Negro disqualified. Niggas ain't got enough money to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are what I call Negro disqualified. And something like, oh, if you got this small little thing on your record, that's a Negro disqualified. Just like when they had all the boys down on the port. And then they said, oh, if you got a record, you can't get a TWIC card. You can't get a TWIC card. You can't work on the port. Negro disqualified. Mm-hmm. Because too many Black men make great livings without all that education. Mm-hmm. Oh, we got to limit that. We got to make that harder. Mm-hmm. Even cats who've been out there for 10 to 15 years lost jobs. You know, they was making 70, 80, $100,000 a year. That's not easy to replace. No. Especially if you got a record and no college degree and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't nowhere. It's not really a lot of other places in the city where they can make that money. It wasn't available to them. These are Negro disqualifiers. So when you know as a Black man, you up against all of this, it's just a struggle. Knowing you up against all of that. And if you, even worse, if you don't know you up against all of that, you end up making one of those mistakes that bar you from whatever marginal success was out there for you to get in the first place.
Ooh, man, that's a whole lot to take in right there.
Yeah, the margin. That's why I say the margin for error is very small. Your opportunity to make mistakes is in the house you in as a child. The minute you turn about 16 years old, as a Black man, you don't have any margin for error.
No.
It's over with. Because nobody outside of those doors is going to love you like the people in your house.
That's true.
Most of the time, we ain't getting loved the right way in the house.
Mm-mm. And it's from fathers, from males and females.
Right. Well, a lot of times, the stats say 80% of Black children are in single-parent homes right now, single-mother homes.
Oh, look, I looked up that stat. Let me tell you this. Now, if it was 72% of Black children are from single-parent homes as compared to 52% of all races. So everything that happens worse to us.
Correct.
And it's our own doing.
Right.
This thing.
Think about this: if we're carrying 72%, then the other races and it averages out at 52. The other races down around 30-40%. Because we the 72, we got the high end. They the low end, which brings your average to 52. So we doubling the other races.
Man,
so
I'm pulling this thing up because I want to get it right. because I mean, there was an intersection there with the amount of Black people that's married as compared to having single parent household.
Oh, we only married about 20 some odd percent. I think it's like 24, 25% or something like that. Mm. And that's going to fall off even further once the baby boomers die.
So it's of Black marital status, 30% of Black people are married. 50% never married at all. Yeah. I mean, and that's crazy, but I'm trying to find where it talked about those children, and I'll pull it up. I'll find it. We'll come back to it. But I want to say this, and this might be another hard pill to swallow, but it kind of aligns up to where we are and what you and I are doing, because someone has to advocate for young Black men and boys. We've already established that. And we've already established that a lot of young Black men are living in single parent households, 70%.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that the households without fathers, the single mothers, are not advocating for boys? Why is it that you can fight tooth and nail for feminism and girl things and Black girl magic, but you won't fight for your boy? And what's bad about it is the parents that do that don't even have girls. So you fighting for somebody else's girl, but you got a boy living there with you, and you training him to be a slave, and you can't fight for him to learn how to read? He can't read. They read at the 4th grade level. And what's bad about it is that most material is written at the 8th grade level. So they can't continue in life because they can't read. And you won't even fight for them, your own flesh and blood, your own boys. Why? Why is that?
Like I said, it is upon us. It is incumbent upon us, me and you, men sitting here like you and I, to fight for our sons, because nobody else is going to. Nobody else is going to. Now, I'm not discrediting Black women and what they've done and what they've struggled with. But the evidence is out there. They cannot successfully raise men.
Oh, guess what? I got something else for you. So look
and
at this.
We need to. We have to.
Look at this.
We got to pick up all of our slack, and whatever slack they done drop, we got to pick that up too.
Oh, it's true. It's true. But watch this. Watch this. Because we put ourselves in these own positions. And again, I don't want anyone to take this as me bashing single parents or doing anything like that. But
we know it all. We're saying I like you are saying y'all have had an unfair amount of weight to carry. But go ahead.
I'm just logically connecting the dots. That's all I'm doing. So this is what's happening. As a way to stem the tide for these young boys, what's happening is they try to, the single mothers are finding these mentors, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. They go in the neighborhood and find a mentor. But you having too many influences that's pulling these boys in different directions, because you got the football coach you take them to, with all of them in football, they all play football. So you got the football coach as a mentor. Then you got the barber from the barber shop. That's a mentor. Then you got your brothers, uncles, and all of that stuff that's mentoring. So you got all of these men that's mentoring. Some of them who don't want to be role models, or if they are, they're saying one thing, but then they go to a different one and pull them in a different direction. That's why they're moving ahead so slow, because you going in a direction, but it's pulling you two different ways. Then they have to decide which way to go. Well, I think the boys should have to do that.
I think the first mistake to be being made is we shouldn't assume these men are mentors.
Exactly.
We shouldn't. As a parent, you shouldn't assume that, oh, he out there with the football coach and the fellas playing football, he gonna get some man lessons. No, he gonna learn how to play football.
Exactly. And coaches coach because they like football.
Right. And now, don't get me wrong, there's some lessons in sports that go with you throughout life. But the real lessons happen at home.
Exactly.
And, you know, the barbershop is cool, but the barbershop is the place where men go to get away from all the regular shit that we have to deal with in society. You go to the barbershop to talk trash and cut loose, and that's not the place for now. We ain't gonna let you act a fool in the barbershop because there's rules, and that's one thing you will have. Every barbershop got its own set of rules.
Yeah.
But it is not, the barbershop is not where we go to learn how to be men. The barbershop is where we go to trip out and relax as men. We not owned at the barbershop. We in the barbershop when and the women around here, we can cut up, act a fool. That's not the place where you send your boy to learn. That's where you send your boy to learn how to relax as a man.
But what's happening is, guess who is at the barbershop waiting with their sons?
All the women.
So the climate has changed.
Yep. Because there was a time where there wasn't no women in the barbershop.
Yeah.
None. If a mom did take you to the barbershop, she dropped you off and left.
Yep, and come back in a little bit.
Yep. Or your daddy took you to the barbershop. That's it. It was a time when there was no women in the barbershop. No men in the beauty salon and no women in the barbershop. Only man that could come in the beauty salon was the man who was selling some stuff.
Yeah.
He come there, sells a few items, and they running right on up out of here. All right, now we'll see you next week.
Yep, that's it.
And the same thing in the barbershop. Only women used to come to the barbershop was selling plates.
That's it. And be right on out.
Sell her plates. All right, y'all, she gone. Boy, let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? That's it. The mama walk in there, pick her son up, and walk out. Talk about how she looked when she walk out. That's it.
Okay.
Boy, no hanging out in the barbershop all day with us.
Well, man, let's look at this other thing with this video. Now, the gentleman said, I hate being a man because I'm sick of being alone with my problems all the time.
Now, that was a big one for me because I have felt that way often. Like it was my problem, whether it was for the whole family or just for me. It was my problem to have and my problem to solve.
Yeah.
And I look back at it and I say, was it just my problem? Or did I just not reach out to anybody? And why did I feel like I couldn't reach out to anybody?
Mm-hmm.
What is it in the way I was raised, in the world that I live in, and what I was taught, especially my own particular situation where I know I have good men around, that I chose not to reach out to them. That I chose not to tell anybody. I was married at one point and wouldn't even reach out to my wife.
Yeah.
About an issue or something, or to tell how I honestly felt about a situation. And I think that's a worse situation. That's really the biggest problem in our society is we feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we combat that?
You know, nowadays, what's helping is a lot of the outlets, kind of like what we doing here, various channels on YouTube, social media. There's a lot of men out there that's telling their truth.
Yes.
And what amazed me as I did that research and went through, a lot of men comment on these videos and say, I feel like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the start of something. You know, because you can do it anonymously. You can say, I felt like that, or this is how I dealt with that. And I do believe that when this man said he's sick of being alone with my problems all of the time, I think that's his state of mind.
Yes, absolutely. I've been there. I know it is. Mm-hmm. I know it is. Because I too have felt that way. So I know he feels alone with his problems. It's not that one. I think, 100% of the men that I know have felt that way at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got my life and my situations, and it's on me and only on me, and it's only solely me. I don't have anybody to talk to. These problems are on my shoulders to bear. alone.
Yeah.
And that's a hard place to be.
So now looking at that and what mixing it with what we talked about earlier, is it right for somebody that is supposedly the man of the house now at 16 years old to have to deal with that?
No. Quite frankly, in today's world, you're not equipped at 16 to deal with that. You haven't even finished high school yet. You don't have what's considered a basic education. You have no critical thinking skills. So no, at 16, you should be trying to figure out how I'm gonna pass this class and can I kiss this girl?
There's something that's appropriate.
Yes. Can I pass this class? Can I go? Am I gonna go hoop with my friends after school? Is my mama and my daddy them gonna get me a car? Can I borrow mama car this weekend? That's the gravity of the stuff you should be thinking about. Man, them shoes came out. I hope my parents could get it for me. maybe an after school job. Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna get a little after school job so I can put a couple dollars in my pocket and feel like I got something.
That was me. You know what? I had an after school job. I worked from the time I was 14 until now. Right. And that was it. I was worried about, getting the next pair of pennies, next pair of Jordans. I used to love that stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
But at the same time, as I'm older and look back, and this is something we have to watch out for with our young men as a way of dealing with our problems, because I didn't have a lot of self-confidence for a long time. And I mean, I got my own speculations where that came from, but I used those material things to boost my confidence. Because you know what? Yeah, I might not think I'm the best looking man around the school, or people think I'm a nerd or whatever, but guess what?
I'm fly.
I'm gonna have them Jordans that nobody else can put their hands on.
I'm sure fly.
You know what?
I'm fresher than a mug.
Man, that was it. I would go wear cologne every day. I had 30 pairs of shoes. I remember this. I counted them. I had 30 pairs of shoes. So I had a different pair of shoes every day of the week.
Hey, killing them. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't it?
Look, I think most people, especially black men, have that period where we go through that materialistic phase. I mean, I remember I had ostrich tennis shoes and silver silk shirts and leather shorts with the silk lining and all of that. I had my time. Oh yeah, you remember that? Hold on. Rollo.
Hold on, let's go back. You had a Gordon Gartrell. You had that Gordon Gartrell. Denise didn't make it right. An original Gordon Gartrell.
You got to say it right now. I had an original Gordon Gartrell. Silver, hey, right there at Rollo's downtown Savannah, the ostrich tennis shoes and all of that. Yeah, I had it. Couldn't tell me nothing. I felt good about myself.
You were dressing like an old longshoreman.
Hey, that was the day when me and the streets was friends. We was hanging out tough. I had, I was making my little trips up and down the highway. I wasn't doing right, but that's another story altogether. So I think we all go through the little materialistic phase, because we're looking for our value.
Yeah,
we're looking for our value as men.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, our value is attached to things we have and the money we make.
Heard a lot of folks talk about that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and I hope us sitting here having these conversations can do just a little bit to let men know you more than that. While it matters, and while if you decide to have a family, you do have a responsibility to provide, that is not your sole purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You have to raise your children, be a part of your children's life, teach them how to understand, cope, let them know they're valuable beyond that. Let them know they're going to be loved regardless. And you have to teach your sons, look, man, yes, the margin for error is very small, but I'm going to help you navigate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on your side. I'm going to advocate for you. And if we don't have fathers in the home, then yes, it is your responsibility as a black man to see a young man and lend a hand. Because because you've been him. He hasn't been you, but you've been him. He's struggling.
You know what? I'm going to add to that. And I know I talked about role models earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, you're a role model whether you want to be or not.
Exactly.
People watch you.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that, again, in the classroom, my position as an educator, this one little boy, I noticed he was asking me lots of questions. And they would just come out of the blue. And he would wait for my answer, watch me, then he'll go off and go with his friends. He would say something like, Mr. Hicks, you got kids? And I was like, yeah, I got kids. Your kids live with you? I was like, yeah, they live with me. So you mean that they don't, they mama don't have a house and you have a house and they don't go between the two houses? They live with you. And I was like, yeah. This kid could not believe that life existed that way.
He doesn't see it.
He hasn't
seen it. Not for black kids anyway. He might see it for some white kids on television, but he don't see it for us.
Brother, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was at a school that was predominantly white before this one.
Mm-hmm.
And they deal with the same issues. Yep. Except for them, their parents work all the time and they still at home by themselves. I had a student tell me that they hated summer vacation. They don't like to be out of school for the summer because their parents always make them go to camp and do this stuff all summer because they're not home. Now, I do understand we got to work, we got to do stuff, we got to keep things going. I get it. I do get it. But sometimes we do got to look out for our kids. Sometimes, you know what, instead of working overtime that week, you might have to work some regular time just so you can sit with your kids. I mean, even sit with them and watch a movie. Something. Have a conversation with them. Find out what they like, why they do stuff. That way you can steer them in the right direction.
You're right. I just jumped online with my son last night on the video game. You know, I can't see him every day, but I can do that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Y'all can talk.
Yep.
With that. I mean, you know, I told this young man at the school that, yeah, I'm trying to push my son to start a gaming channel on YouTube. Because he's pretty good at what he does with that. And he is very intelligent, articulate, can talk and break down things. I wanted him to talk. And I got the equipment for it. I got it right over there. So all we got to do is he say he ready, plug it up, and we got a channel. So I was telling the kids about that at school. And he said, so you really going to do that for your kid? You mean to tell me you going to let your son start a gaming channel and play games with him? And I said, yeah, we're going to do that. And you know what? He asked me that again yesterday. So y'all still doing the gaming channel? These kids don't have that. They're growing up without stuff. And we might think we winning, but we're not.
We're not at all.
These young men are growing up with a skewed sense of reality. They're missing a huge chunk of something. They are deficient.
Yes.
And that's perpetuating the state of the world today. So we have a responsibility to be a role model. You know what? Do the right thing. Do the right thing of people watching you.
That's right.
They're watching you. You know, go ahead.
Let's try to bundle this thing up. Let's try to bundle it up, and let's try to give some actionable steps for young men. I think, yes, first thing I want to say is I understand, young brothers, I know the world is not set up for you to win. I know the world is set up currently where you feel like you have minimal to no value. That's wrong.
Yeah.
And the proof that you have value is in the lack of performance that young boys are doing. The reason their performance is lacking because there aren't enough men in their lives, namely their fathers. But if that's not there, then we have to do our job as men to help these young boys. So that, and the fact that you're struggling and have a limit of your value should let you know that you need that you might have grew up without a lot of presence of men, and you need to provide that for other young men. Second thing I want to say is, please, please, please go get the therapy or psychological help you need. It's things out there. You know, if you work in a job and you got health insurance, go that route. If you not, see what's out there. Maybe group help free in the community. YouTube channel, answer in the comments on channels like this. You will be surprised how often those guys will respond and get back and give you methods to get your help. Because sometimes you just need 1 or 2 questions answered to make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
So there's help out there. Go seek that help. And the last thing I'm gonna say before I turn it over to you, Dr. Close, is there are men out here that understand your situation, and we love you, and we want to help you, and we hope we can give you whatever guidance we've been given and that information that we have, so you can live a better life. And that's all I got on that. Go ahead.
All right. I know one thing that you always talk about is actionable steps.
Correct.
And based on what I've seen, what we talked about right now, young man, I'm going to say this: find yourself a mentor. Now, mentor is not going to find you. You have to find them, and be selective in who you choose as your mentor. Don't choose them because they make a lot of money.
Nope.
But you have to evaluate them. Look at their moral character. Look at how they do things, how they handle themselves. And most times people like that, you just ask them questions and they will give you answers. So you have to reach out for that. What I also want to say is that people watching this who may be single parents, it's nothing against you. I know you're trying to do the best you can with what you got, and that is commendable in itself. But I'm going to say is try to view your sons a little differently. View them for who they are, a kid. Don't try to make them the man of the house. Don't try to raise them to be servants to whoever they may marry or date. Don't do that. Raise them to be a person, a healthy person. And if you had to get some help doing that, try to find a mentor too. I mean, I know we talked about finding football coaches and this and that, and that's good. I mean, because something is better than nothing. Something is better than, even if it's a bunch of different ones, it's better than nothing. But just recognize that they're kids too. And try your best. Just keep trying, keep going. And finally, I'm gonna say, young man, you're doing a good job. We believe in you. If you want to talk about something, leave us a comment down below. We'll reach out to you. I don't have a problem talking to you. I listen pretty good, and I ask pretty decent questions. So, if you can't find nothing else, give me a shot. I got you.
Yeah. Now, in closing, I just want to say thank y'all for watching. Like, share, comment on the video. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, whether you agree, disagree. Thank you, America. Thank you, world. We love you. We out.